We are the one, the light in the dark. One heart, one world, one spark. We are the one, together we rise. One dream, one voice, one sky.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowered Across the World. And this is our podcast. And I'm going to just quickly introduce the other host, and that's Dr. Kara from Texas, and Jackie Zaccoli from Texas, and
Arizona.
me. I'm sorry, Arizona, and me from Florida, Carol Witt. And Chrystal, we are thrilled to have you as our guest. I know you're going to inspire many women across the world inside of your story. So we can't wait to hear your story. Please come join us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's so nice to meet all of you. And Carol, Carol was actually my first podcast interview, and
Yeah,
I was hers, right?
you were mine.
So yeah, Carol, that was like a blink since we last I just had a discussion. But yeah, my story, I guess I'm going to talk about Reiki today. So we'll just jump into Reiki. How I got started with Reiki. My story is in 2014, my brother-in-law passed away. Um, but the story that led to that was um, just, it started with he was dying of colon cancer in the room, and there was 20 of us in that room, and a Catholic priest came in to give him his last rites. And sorry, I'm just feeling emotional all of a sudden. But and yeah, it was like the air changed, and all of a sudden there was a peace over him. And we all went home thinking he was going to pass that night peacefully. But when we came back to the hospital that next day, he was sitting up in his bed, and he went on to live another 3 weeks. And from that point, I started to have dreams. And one of those dreams was the healing hands, which led me to Reiki. And I started taking classes to become a Reiki master. But once I became a master, life kind of threw at me. I was in healthcare as a corporate accountant and manager. And then I had my daughter, and I went through a divorce. And through all that, I completely forgot about Reiki. And it wasn't until this year in May that I had a cleaning client, and I was cleaning. He said, "Hey, I've got this massage table, and it's I got it for $50 at a rummage sale." And I remembered that I do Reiki. And he was like, "Well, you have to do this." And so I gave him a Reiki session, and he was like, "You need to do Reiki." And so I did. And yeah, so I've been converting all these cleaning clients into Reiki clients. And in my story, as I was doing that, um, actually just in August, I had um, I all my expenses seemed to go up, and I couldn't pay all the bills, and then I got evicted. And in that eviction, and this is all going on right now, um, I was led to an Airbnb, and I was led to a lawyer that's helping me overturn the eviction and appeal everything. And yeah, and this Airbnb that I was staying in now connected me to someone else in Oconomowoc, which is a few miles from here, from where I'm in Delafield, Wisconsin. And they want to set up a Reiki practice for me to practice Reiki. And so now I have a choice. And one of my Reiki clients actually had offered me to move to Cedarburg and practice Reiki there with his clients and his friends in a yoga studio. So it's just amazing how things work out, and we're all on a ride. I can tell you that. So yeah, that's I'll just leave it there.
Really, really amazing. You've come from a lot of setbacks, and you always rise up, my dear, and that is why you inspire me. Your life inspires me in that sense. We just tell people a little bit about your podcast, what you do. It's pretty amazing. You want every one of our hosts on your podcast, but
Oh,
please share with people about your podcast.
yeah, so in it was like 2019, as I was going through that divorce, I started to really study more about women and men and understanding, how how did I end up in this relationship? Like, what was my part in the relationship? And in order to heal, I started to create videos of um, related to what I had found out. And a lot of that work was related to the Queen's Code and Keys to the Kingdom, which is by Alison Armstrong. So I learned all this stuff, and then I was like, there's so many other women that would like to know more. And that's when I started saying, hey, I should do a podcast. And it was actually then I met Carol, and Carol was my first guest, and she was one of the first people to believe in me when everyone else didn't. And yeah, I started YEA. Yeah, I think my channel, it's called Tao of the Heart. It's on YouTube, and I think there's like 360 videos. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have so many guests that want to be on it. It's through these little blips, I haven't been able to get back to it, but I do want to get back to it. I would love to have all of you on to interview you. And yeah, reconnecting people back to their heart.
And
That's what,
tell people a little more about what your interviews are, because they're maybe not understanding you do many different things. So what did you and I talk about around being on your podcast?
um, So the big thing is reconnecting people back to their heart. So whatever story you have, that's what I want to know about, where you're helping people, other people through your story. And I usually just dive right in and ask, hey, how did you get started where you're at today? Um, and yeah, there's like 3,000 people that have asked to be on my podcast. I haven't had time to schedule that many because I don't get paid for it, but I definitely want to get back to it. And there's so many people that want to share their story, and um,
Mm.
it illuminates, other people's lives when you share your story.
Yeah, and Chrystal, I definitely will promote your podcast. If that is something you want to continue to do, I will promote it on this in the description, in letting people know of other podcasts that I refer people to, because it's
Yes.
really wonderful. I've listened to many of them, and they're just really wonderful stories. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so thankful that, the people that I am connected to, they take something that happened to them in life that wasn't really a great experience, and they turn it into a silver lining. And not only for themselves, but for many. They then go out and say, I want to share this with so many other people that can learn from it. You know, that's who you are, Chrystal. So thank you. Really, thank you.
Thank
And thank you
you.
for being a guest on here today. I know we have some people that probably have some questions for you. So I want to open it up. Who would like to ask Chrystal a question? And who would like to be on our podcast? Any questions
Well,
for Chrystal?
the
Yeah,
the
go.
interesting thing is that I had my change in my life and the pivot in my life. It was because of a Reiki master,
Oh,
actually.
Really?
I call her an indigo, and she is also a Reiki master. So, yeah, it's really interesting when you're told by someone that your direction is something, and it's like, excuse me, what? So it's really very informative. However, I'm curious. So it was pretty much your brother's ailment. I mean, you were there. Um, However, when did you actually begin to um, practice or show yourself really that that was your talent? I mean, it got you something got you besides that interaction. I mean, just being at your brother's bedside, was that just explain?
Well, I don't really think it was until May because, I became a Reiki master, but I didn't really practice it. I was in corporate America. I had a very high level position for a very large health system. It was like 15 hospitals, 150 clinics, over 1,500 like physicians. And yeah, it was crazy, like the amount of time that was put into my career, but I was so empty in those moments because it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So, the last year has really been about me breaking out and doing what I want to do and what fills me up, even when, other people don't necessarily support that. So, like, Carol has been a very big supporter, and that's really helped me grow, um, and keep working on me in order to fill other people's cups.
absolutely. It has been absolutely a pleasure to be your cheerleader
Thank you.
in your corner, dear. um, if there's anybody that can make a difference for others, you can. And just you believing you can will push you so far, so far. And having others believe in you, dear, doesn't have to be your family. Does not. We can be your
Right.
family and we can cheer you on and be there for you. So
Mm.
just believe in what you have to offer others. That's it.
Yeah, it's very much a choice. It's a conscious choice. You get to choose
It really is.
um, every step of the way.
And I'm glad you've chosen this. I see the difference in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it shows on you. Okay, Dr. Kara has a question. Go ahead, Dr. Kara.
Well, I wanted to point out that Chrystal made a really great point, and it was just kind of slept over, is that we need to take care of ourselves first. And I feel like you have the opportunity to gift other people these powerful Reiki sessions because you've taken the time the last several years to heal yourself. And so that's extremely commendable because so many people just go through life just pushing forward and never really sit in that pain and move through it. And so I just want to say how appreciative I am that you shared that and make it a point to the audience that you can give more when you give yourself more. And Jackie, it's so interesting. And we've all come together universally and been connected for a reason, right? I was in personal training school and I had to do an externship. And a part of that was exploring different alternative therapies. And I went in for a Reiki session, one of the most profound things I've ever experienced. I knew what energetic medicine was, but I had never experienced it. And I remember kind of waking up from this session because I was almost in a meditative state, still feeling this woman's hands on me. And I just felt so secured in love for days after that profound experience. And so I want to say, Chrystal, thank you for bringing that gift to the world, because I know I'm not the only one that has experienced the power of Reiki from a Reiki master. And so thank you. Thank you for helping others heal themselves when they don't necessarily have the tools to do that.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I told you, Chrystal, I used to suffer from horrible migraines. I mean, 10 days that I was in dark room, could not have any noise, really horrible, sent me to the hospital many, many times. And I had a Reiki master say, Carol, I want to work with you. I want to help you with it. Anytime you feel like it's coming on, you just need to call me, because she wasn't here. She was in Arizona. And I would call her up. She would get me into this state, and there was no pain after hours and hours and hours of me screaming, cut my head off. Yeah. So I want you to know Reiki has been a big, big thing in my life, and I no longer suffer from migraines. Thank you. But I'm just telling you, she helped me for almost a whole year. All I do is call her up on the phone, because guys, Reiki isn't that they have to touch you. This is energy that they can pass through you. And oh my gosh, what a difference it made for my life. I could actually function. So that is why I'm supporting you, Chrystal. I believe in what you're up to and what your future holds for you. I want that for you.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Reiki it reconnects people back to themselves, to heal themselves. That's the whole point, I guess.
Yes.
And I learn each time I go on the table with someone. So, in a lot of ways, the person on the table is healing me while I'm healing them. So the exchange is quite beautiful. Each time is different. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I've seen people. I just had a person that they broke their foot, and so I could feel like the screws in their foot, um, and just healing the pain around those screws. Um, and it's kind of interesting how the body heat and now I can see color on the body as I'm in that meditative state. And just it's just interesting how, like you said, it's distance Reiki. You can go into that meditative state and you can see where a blockage is and just release it. And a lot of grand masters in Japan, they also, it's a similar practice. And they're sending a frequency of divine love to whatever ailment they're working to heal.
That's what my Reiki master said. I'm healing you with love, Carol.
Yep,
I
it's
loved it.
true.
I loved it, and I felt it. I so felt it. Yeah. So anyway,
Yes.
anybody else have another question for Chrystal before we end? Yeah, Byron, come join us.
Hi. Hi. Hello, everyone. Chrystal, thank you so much for sharing your story and for stepping in as the healer that you are.
Thank you.
I always, when people tell me, that they have experienced Reiki, it reminds me that it's kind of like the gateway, right? It's the gateway. It's often when people have gone so far away from the center of themselves, they have become so disconnected that they need assistance in reconnecting with just who they are, right? Um, and it's three levels of Reiki, right? It's the three levels of Reiki, right? The first one, you learn how to do it for yourself. The
Correct.
second one, you learn how to do it for others. And then distance, right? The distance healing. I've done all three. So
Yeah.
um, I think it's really beautiful that you are in your process and you're sharing in the middle of your journey of what you're going to do with this,
Hmm.
right? Because for me, it was the beginning of seeing that there are other possibilities that life can be, right? That I can have some effect or some choice in what happens in my life and how I experience it. And to be in the space of helping others to discover that for themselves, even if it's just okay, I'll help this person to alleviate this pain or to get rid of this headache or to give them the hope, to give them the hope that, oh my God, I don't have to live with pain. I don't have to live with this difficulty. I don't have to feel like I can't move in any direction mentally, emotionally, physically, right? It is such a gift. And I want to thank you for stepping in and continuing to step in to discover for you, because it's different for each person what path they take with it. Or, yeah, I want to thank you for continuing, because the more you continue with this and expand with your abilities, the more you will be able to help so many different situations around the world simply by focusing on what you're doing. Because when you do that, you're shifting everything else.
Oof.
Everything else has to shift because you are in this direction, right? Everything. Thank you
Yes.
so much. It feels awesome.
Oh, I love it.
So my question for you is, ideally, let's say 2 years from now, what would you like to be doing? What is your dream?
Well, I'd like to have a practice, like a big one, like where I'm also teaching. And I know there's a practice down in Oak Creek here, and they have Saturdays, and it's community Reiki.
Oh,
So I definitely want to do that. And just open it up. And people in this community don't really know a lot about Reiki. So it's kind of new where I'm at. So definitely want to spread the word. And what you were saying and what Dr. Kara was saying kind of made me think about medicine. And I know I worked in healthcare, but it was more on the revenue side, which is sadly the way the system works in the US right now. But for me, it's the understanding of people are grasping by going to a doctor, and it's not that you don't need a doctor or Reiki. It's just that they lose that connection to themselves right now. And so they're looking, when they go to someone like me or someone like you, it's really about connecting them back to themselves. Whereas I think the big box corporate healthcare system is about you need to be addicted to the health system versus addicted, I mean, not
ooh,
addicted, but connected to the self.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, everyone that's on this call today, I think you're all doing work to really connect people back to themselves and their own power to heal.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. All right. Guys, what another amazing episode. I love these episodes. I live for them. So excited always about them. And I knew I would be today with you, Chrystal, as the guest. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being our guest today. You're going to inspire many out there because you know what, guys? This is Chrystal's passion. This She lights up around this. And don't settle. Don't settle in life. Find your passion. Find your passion and get lit up in life. And you know, please, please, if you love these episodes, it helps and supports us so much if you will subscribe to the channel so that it goes out to more and more people. And please share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors and your community. And please make comments. And if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, please reach out to one of us. We're all on LinkedIn. You can find us all out there on LinkedIn. Please reach out to one of us and say, I'd like to be a guest. We want women coming and sharing their stories. Guys, every person's story is amazing. Do not think your story isn't important. It is. And it is how you can make a difference for many, many women out there, is that you share it. So we want you to bring your voice, bring your heart, bring your passion, and share with everyone that you can share with. And we'll put it out all over social media so many people can see it. So thank you once again. This is Women's Empowered Across the World podcast, and we are thrilled to be with you today. And we will have another episode on Monday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
When we stand as one, there's no divide.